So Keir Starmer just does not want to give up at all, does he? He just keeps going and going and going. He's like the Energizer Bunny, what nobody wants. So GB News has put out a new interview with Keir Starmer. He's putting out the same rhetoric and delusion that he always does. This is what this little reptile does all the time. Let's go through it. I'm sorry. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to put my 2 cents in here and there because that's what I like to do. Because why not?
Prime Minister, this is the first time we've heard your reaction to the full scale of the horror show that the electorate's inflicted upon the Labour Party. Your biggest ever loss of seats in English council elections. Then there was Wales, then there was Scotland. Do you accept it was dire for you?
Look, it was really tough, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's really...
You can tell he's got the same old script. It was the same stuff yesterday. It was tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Try to be normal. Try to be natural. Try to say what you really mean, you freak of nature.
Important that we reflect and respond when the electorate send a message like that. It's right that we do that. I think we have to...
Right, Keir, what message did the electorate send to you? What message did you receive? Because I don't think you received the actual message that was sent. This is my whole issue with Keir Starmer. When he comes on, it's just rhetoric, platitudes and nonsense. That's all he ever does. And he reads the same script. He gives various interviews at various stages and saying it's all right to say the same things. If you have a point, you are going to say the same things, but it is the way he does it. It is line for line. Every interview is the same script verbatim. All the time, just step outside your comfort zone, Keir, and talk like a bloody human being.
To set out the path ahead, and that's what I intend to do in coming days.
We don't want a path ahead with Keir Starmer on that path. We'd be happy to take on the path if this guy was not there. We do not want this guy leading anybody. I wouldn't trust this guy with a bonny dog, let alone a bloody country.
How we rebuild, how we convince people about hope for the future, and we haven't done enough of that. And
no, you haven't. You've took away people's hope for the future. Look around you, Keir. We all knew it was going to go bad for you. You knew it was going to go bad for you. You thought you would have that voting bloc. The same people you suppressed your own people to please. You thought they were going to have your back, but they've gone to the Greens, haven't they? So you've got nobody. And now you are trying to win back the public to save your own fucking arse. The same public you stood there, and I'm going to keep on saying this, and declared war on. Those far-right fascists, them same people, you now want them to stand up and save your arse. It ain't going to happen, pal. It really isn't.
Of course, hope for the future resides now. Young people being able to go as far as their talent or ability will take them, not being held back by poverty.
Our young people aren't held back by poverty. Well, we are. But our young people are held back by psychological issues caused by fucking rape on our streets. That's what you're doing for young people.
Hope resides in communities and families and households not feeling constantly held back by the cost of living. And hope resides in people feeling that they can be proud of the place where they live and they work. So
we are proud of the place we live and we work. It is you that is not. No one has specifically come out and said, I hate my country. I hate that I have to work in this country. The only thing people hate about this country, Keir, is you. And I'm going to keep on addressing this to you because you are too dense to really get the message that was sent. Because it wasn't just a message. That was the entire nation. That was one voice that contained the entire nation's desires. And those desires are you gone out of our parliament. Ideally out of our country. Because you are not welcome here, Keir. You're really not.
I will be setting that out with clarity about my convictions and my values.
Right, convictions you've got none. And what's your values, Keir? Are they the same values you tell the British public they have? You don't have real values, do you? You only have what is taught to you, what you're told to think, what you're told to feel, what you're told to believe. That's all you have, isn't it, Keir? You don't have values. But yet you are the person that will tell us what our values are, because we are an accepting, tolerant people. More fool you, pal. No, we ain't. Not anymore.
What drives me forward on this?
The thing is, you have to convince your own MPs, don't you? There's a growing number of your MPs saying publicly that you should resign or you should set a timetable for your resignation. Will you?
It's very important that we do reflect on what was a tough set of results. But I'm not going to walk away and plunge the country into chaos.
Walk away. The country is in chaos because of you. The longer you stay, the longer this country is in chaos. When you leave, the chaos is then removed. Ideally, when you leave and you take your Communist Party with you. Because we don't want a replacement for you, Keir. Not within your party. We want you gone, and we want Labour gone, and we want you gone yesterday.
I think the right thing to do is to rebuild and show the path forward. We did make a number of really important calls in the last couple of years about stabilising the economy, investing in our public services, not getting drawn into the war in Iran.
Stabilising the economy. The economy has never been in a worse shape in its entire history as it is when it's under you. And you know what? This happens every time that Labour is in control. This country goes on the verge of bankruptcy. Every time, without fail. And as for our public sector, our NHS is an absolute mess. Why is that? Why is our NHS a mess? It is crowded with people who should not be here. There is no duty of care in the NHS anymore. It has become stagnant and non-personal. There's no bedside manner in the NHS anymore. And the staff you have in the NHS are stretched so thin that they don't have time to give duty of care. They don't have time for pleasantries or to be nice or even do their job properly because everything is rushed. Do you know, on average, I'm in the northeast, and compared to London and places like that, we're quiet. And I'm in a quiet place in the northeast. When I go to A&E, I can be in there for 15 hours. And you know what happens in them 15 hours, Keir? People sit there. There's maybe 3 people when I walk in. Then there's me. And then more people join. More people join. And you are lucky if a doctor comes and sees someone once every 2 hours. And it takes that long. The average time is about 12 to 15 hours. And in that time, just so it looks like they're doing something, you get your observations done about 7 or 8 times. Now tell me, if the NHS worked, why are the same people in, when I went there, still not being seen? Why does it take an average of 1.5 hours to 2 hours for a person to be seen by a doctor? The NHS is broken. And the cost of living, well, that's just down to you as well, Nick, here. Yes, we had high inflation. But if you look at it, a lot of other countries have recovered from the pandemic era, the inflation rise. In the States, inflation was still rising until Biden was out. And then all of a sudden, inflation began to get under control. But under Keir Starmer and his Labour Party, inflation just seems to be on the rise all of the time. When you do anti-business practices, like when you punish businesses for employing people by raising their national insurance, by raising their payroll costs, do you know what you're doing, Keir? 1, you're driving up unemployment, but 2, you're driving up the cost of living. If these businesses now have higher overheads because of your economic plans, then what do you think they're going to do? Do you think they're going to eat them losses, or do you think they're going to pass them on to the consumer? Exactly right, they're going to pass them on to the consumer. So why you might brag that it's a good thing that you up minimum wage to the highest ever, which is ridiculous. I'm not saying people don't deserve that, but there's a reason we have minimum wage in place. It is supposed to be a happy medium between the employer and the employee. But you've attacked the employer twice in a row. You hit them with higher national insurance. Then you hit them with a minimum wage cap. These businesses, a lot of them were already struggling. So you are not going to bring inflation down like that. So what's your next idea? Wow, we'll tax the rich. How's that working out for you? Because, yes, maybe the rich should be paying a little bit more, but there's a reason they don't. The rich, no matter what they pay more than the average person. No arguments with that. Yeah, we'll agree with that. But what you do is you lose tax because you try to tax them into oblivion, then they leave the country here. They take their wealth with them. And many times, these wealthy people have businesses. What do they do with them? They take them with them. So what does that mean? More unemployment. Less tax, more unemployment. This is why we've never taxed the rich to oblivion. I'm not saying that rich don't deserve to be taxed, but there is a reason why they haven't. The average person cannot up and leave. The rich people can. You have not got a fucking clue what you are doing with the economy, with border security, with the country as a whole. You don't have a fucking clue. You are just a puppet in a suit. That's all you are. And I think you're starting to realise now that the people en masse are seeing through you. Your rhetoric, your propaganda, it no longer works. The people can see straight through you. And you don't know how to react to that, do you?
We need to couple to that the arguments we're making about hope and the future, about young people, about place. And so I will be setting out those arguments, but more than anything, setting out with clarity the values and convictions that drive me.
The values and convictions that drive him. Right. You've got no value in the white indigenous people in this country. And the only convictions you have is the ones you create on that same white indigenous countryman. About 3 to 4 years, you'll cut it for a nasty tweet. Eh? That's the only values and conviction you have. You are scum. Pure and simple.
Let's be absolutely clear cut. You're saying you're going nowhere. You would stand if you were challenged?
Look, it's very important that we don't. I'm not going to walk away from this. That would plunge the country into chaos. But that doesn't mean we don't need to respond. It doesn't mean we don't need to rebuild. It doesn't mean that we don't need to set out the path ahead. That's what I'm going to do in coming days. The things that we will do to take the country forward. Of course, we face difficult circumstances. We've got a war on two fronts, and we've had.
Talking of the war, another thing you managed to do, Keir, is destroy the special relationship between the UK and the US. Well done. Well done. Now, you didn't join the war in Iran, and that's down to you. But we couldn't join the war in Iran, could we, Keir? Why is that? Because our armed services are decimated. Our Navy, the illegal boat migrants, have better equipment than our Navy does. Our armed forces are at an all-time low. And not only that, not only are they underfunded, not only do they not have the equipment they need, but you are also actively making excuses to go after them and arresting them for following government orders in the first place. That is what you're doing. That is what you've done. So we couldn't join the war. But what you could have done is you could have let the US use our bases. Now, what's going to happen here, because it's public knowledge now that our armed forces are in dire straits. What's going to happen when our enemies decide to attack us? Do you think the US is going to come to our aid? Once over, we could guarantee it. If we were in trouble, we've got the US. Now, can we say the same? That's another thing you've done.
Theories of economic crisis, but my job is to combine rising to those challenges.
Yeah, combine all the crises and make a huge crisis.
With the hope and opportunity that gives people that real sense that things can get better. That I will do.
Leave. Just leave. That will give people the real sense that things can get better. You absolute.
In coming days.
Let me put to you a remark this morning from your colleague Clive Betts, Labour MP. He was saying that over and over again when he was on the doorsteps in the last few weeks, people were saying to him they couldn't vote Labour because of you. And that must cut quite deep, that that apparent personal animosity that people feel towards you, that you're seemingly dragging the party down?
Well, let me again say these results are tough and that hurts. Of course it hurts. It should hurt. But the right thing to do is to therefore set out the path forward. That is what I intend to do. I think, look, we made unnecessary mistakes. One of
Made unnecessary mistakes. Destroying the relationship between the US and the UK. Branding every citizen of the UK a far-right thug and the enemy. Covering for a known friend of a paedophile. We'll say a friend, but we all know he's chance to be a paedophile. There's chance to be a lot of the Labour members and donors and MPs that are paedophiles. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm going to say it. What is it here? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I believe a lot of the Labour MPs and so on are paedophiles. A lot of the left-wing judges, I think, are paedophiles. I think anybody in a sense of power, in not just this country but the world, have a strange affinity to children. You have drove the economy into the ground. It's not going to be long that we're going to need an IMF bailout. We were close to it last year. And we will need one very soon. You have decimated our armed forces. You should have been considering that you are trying to get us into war with Russia, and you are. You and your European pals, which is another thing, getting us closer to Europe. Do you know, when we left Europe, that key was democracy. I know that's a foreign language to you. But when we left, that was democracy. Now you're trying to sneak your ass in the back door. You keep all their policies. The ECHR is the biggest detriment to this country, and you lay everything on it. Everything you've done is wrong. I made a video yesterday, and I could not think of one good thing that you have done for this country. Not one. Anybody, if you can think of one good thing that Keir Starmer and his Labour government has done for this country, please put in the comments, because I have tried and I cannot think of anything. I can think of a lot of detrimental things he's done to this country, a lot, but not one good thing, not something you could call half decent. He has made a series of mistakes. He is a series of mistakes.
Which was that we rightly, in my view, levelled with the public about the challenges that we face as a country, both on the finances and internationally. But what we didn't...
You've never levelled with the country at all. The only time you levelled with the country is when you created a £22 billion black hole and then told us all it was on all of us, that we're going to have to work hard to fill that £22 billion fake black hole, while giving billions to climate change and different countries. Different causes that do not benefit this country at all. How can we have a £22 billion black hole in this country, what the people have to pay for? Yet you will go to Zelensky and give him millions at a time, or billions. You will then go to these crisis accords, these climate accords, and give billions to them. Then you bring boat migrants in and spend billions on them. But for a £22 billion black hole that you tell us is there, then that's on us. Fuck you. Fuck you very much.
Do is enough to convince them about the change that would impact them, how their lives would be better. The hope wasn't there enough in the first 2 years of this government. And that's why it's important for me now to set out where hope resides. It resides in our young people.
I'm pleased you've admitted that it hasn't worked out in the first 2 years. And you've only got 3 years left. What are you going to do? Nothing. You're going to make it worse. If you cannot say that you've been in office for 2 years and this is what I've done, then you don't deserve to be in office. You really don't. Because we all know, and you know yourself, them 2 years have been an absolute nightmare for the British people. You have people stressed daily, not only on the economy, but on safety. The majority of the people of this country don't even know what the actual law is for this current day. Your police don't even know what the law is, neither do your judges. Or if they do, they're very good at not enforcing it. Very, very good. But they'll enforce your pretendy laws, your pseudo-laws, your pseudo-legislation. They'll enforce that to the hilt, to the highest extent. But traditional, founded law falls by the wayside under you. Why is that? These are questions that's got to be answered, Keir, because we don't just want you gone. We do want you gone, but we want you to be held accountable. Or certainly I do. I can't speak for everyone on that, but I want to see your ass in prison. I really, really do. And it will be the biggest karmic moment in history.
People having the future to go as far as their talent or ability will take them to genuinely have that, because
children don't have no talent or ability. Do you know why, Keir? Because you have drained these poor children in the education system. You have got every child sexually confused. You have got every British white child guilty for being fucking white. That's what you're doing to our young. They are not going to go anywhere in the future. That's why this generation, many of us have children and we are worried about them because they won't have a future with you. This is a thing here. Stop mentioning children. Certainly under the Labour banner. Do not mention children, ever.
if you've grown up in poverty, you don't get that chance. And to make sure that everybody feels the pride that I know they do feel about where they live and where they work.
We are not allowed to have pride, Keir. You have stamped that out of our children. You have made every child feel guilty for who they are and things that they didn't do. But you wash the guilt onto them while telling them they're fairies with pixie dust blowing out their arse. You have facilitated and exploited the severe mental illness that this country is suffering. When I say those nonsense and severe mental illness, I mean your voters, because they're the only people that's voting for you. The nonsensical mentally ill ones. You know them, septum rings, different coloured hair. Or, I better not say it.
We'll be setting
Oh no, they're not voting for you either.
that out tomorrow and making very clear the values and convictions that drive me when I do so.
Last question. You're making a thing today of giving Harriet Harman and Gordon Brown roles. In what sense does that project a sense of the
Gordon Brown, Harriet Harman, they both already got roles. Loads of them.
future, hiring blasts from the past?
Well, very obviously, in the sense that I want women to have the opportunities that they deserve. I want to be able to tackle misogyny. I've made commitments on this, and Harriet, working with the team, is the absolutely right person.
He doesn't learn, does he? I don't think the UK has a misogynistic problem. But you want to hire Harriet Harman because you want to stamp out misogyny. So he's not changing his ways at all. He's carrying on with the same mandate that he's been doing since he got into office. He's just hiding it behind frilly words like he always does.
To do that, so it's very future looking, because this is about making sure that every woman has the opportunities that she deserves. And so,
Unless it's about putting a full-on inquiry in to the rape gangs. No woman deserves anything then.
Harriet will lead on that work, working with the cabinet, working with the team. For Gordon, obviously, one of the big challenges we face is global finance. The war in Iran is causing real problems, economic impact. We need more spending on defence and security. That needs to come together around international mechanisms, and Gordon's got a track record on that. And so that is building the strong economy of the future. So on both fronts, they're very future-looking roles. They're vital to how we strengthen our country and take it forward and provide the opportunities that give people that hope for a better future.
Prime Minister, thank you.
You know, I'm done with this guy. Does anybody else get sick of listening to this fucking... I still refuse to call him a man. But there is only one fix for this country, where You don't run it. And to be honest, you are not part of it. Go to the Middle East, Keir. Put on your keffiyeh and just fuck off. Just fuck off, Keir. You're the only guy that really, really enrages me. Not many people can bring me to rage, but you can. Either the sound of your voice or someone mentioning your name, and I see red. That's got to be a superpower, that, Keir, hasn't it? To be that fucking hated.